Today we're talking about improving your SAT score by at least 100 points. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through my 7 favorite SAT tips that will massively improve your SAT score. After watching this, you will think differently about the way you solve SAT questions. By the way, I'm Azamat and I've helped over 100 students to improve their SAT scores. Alright, let's dive in. Tip number 1 is what I call equal not superior technique. You're seconds away from picking your answer. You've narrowed it down into 2 choices. Your heart is racing. One answer seems to fit, but the other feels slightly better. And then, bam, time's up. You pick the wrong one. Why? Because the SAT just pulled its sneaky tricks on you. Here's what they do. They give you a passage that describes 2 behaviors, one about cleaning, the other about hunting. No judgment, no comparison. There are just facts. Then in the answer choices, they throw in a trap, one that suggests one behavior is more important than the other, and your brain, craving simplicity, falls for it. Maybe you think, well, they did spend a bit more time talking about cleaning, so it must be the focus, right? Well, that's actually wrong. And that's exactly what they want you to think. And here's the secret. Look for equal weight, not implied priority. If a passage presents 2 things neutrally without comparing them, the correct answer will not suggest one is better or worse. If an answer choice says contrast, preference, cross it out immediately. The right answer, it will match the neutral tone of the passage, just stating facts, no preference and no bias. And that's why C is correct. So next time, here's what you need to do. If a passage describes multiple things without comparing them, then immediately eliminate any answer that says contrast, preference, or better than. I'll look for an answer that keeps a neutral descriptive tone. That's how you beat the SAT on its own game. But there is still one more trick they use that almost nobody talks about. And if you don't catch it, you'll fall for it every single time. Tip number 2 is what I call the forbidden value trick. You're flying through your SAT math section, question after question. You feel unstoppable, and then you see it. A simple looking equation. X multiplied by r minus 5 plus 4 equals 13x plus 30. It kind of sounds easy, but there is a trap. And if you don't catch it, you're walking straight into a score-crushing mistake. The question asks, what cannot be the value of r? Most students start solving for x, moving terms around and trying to get an answer. And that's exactly what the SAT wants you to do. Waste your valuable time. But what if I told you there is a shortcut, a way to solve this instantly without doing all the algebra? You keep working through the equation, you're convinced that you're getting closer. You simplify, you isolate x, and then something weird happens. You end up with an equation that suddenly doesn't work. The numbers don't add up, your calculator gives an error. Your confidence is shattered. But here's the trick. Instead of solving for x, look at when the equation breaks. In SAT math, an equation has exactly one solution as long as the coefficient of x is not 0. And if the coefficient of x disappears, the equation collapses, making it impossible to solve. So let's break it down. Firstly, rearrange the equation x multiplied by r minus 5 minus 13x equals 26. Factor out x. So we get x multiplied by r minus 5 minus 13 equals 26, and that will equal to this. For there to be exactly one solution, r minus 18 doesn't equal to 0, which means r cannot be 18. So that's our answer, choice C, 18. Now that you know the trick, here's how to use it in other SAT questions. Always check when the coefficient of x becomes 0. This is the SAT's hidden breaking point. If an equation has no solution, that means the forbidden value is the answer. Instead of solving the whole equation, eliminate the impossible value instantly. By the way, if you're serious about boosting your SAT score, make sure to click the join button below. You're in the middle of the SAT, dialed in, locked, cooking, and then boom, a word that you've never seen before. Incontrovertible. Clock is ticking, heart is racing. Does it mean controversial? The opposite? What do? You're gonna panic, guess, or maybe move on. And just like that, one question could cost you tens of points. But here's the crazy part. You already know the answer. And it's not just to this word, to dozens of other words as well. The SAT is a trap. They try to slow you down and they want you to burn time. And most students, they fall for it. They think the only way out is to memorize hundreds of words, which is like trying to drink the entire ocean. But here's the cheat code. Instead of memorizing words, you decode them. You may be thinking, how? A prefix is like a secret key. It tells you exactly what a word means before you even finish reading it. And check this out. In means not. Contra means against. Vert means turn. So if you put it together, we get not able to turn against, aka undeniable. So boom, word cracked. No memorization, no stress. But what if the SAT throws something worse at you? Like misapprehend. Are you gonna guess, skip, or are you gonna pray? No, you break it down. Mis means wrong. Apprehend means to understand. So misapprehend means to understand something incorrectly. You didn't memorize it, you kind of unlocked it. And here's where it gets wild. There are only 32 prefixes that make up most of the hard words on the SAT. Pre means before, precede, which means to come before. Sub means under, submarine means underwater. Re means again, rebuild means to build again. And I put all 32 of them into a free worksheet that you can find in the description below. You're reading an SAT science passage. The words, pure nonsense. Mitochondrial transcription factors regulate gene expression in response to oxidative stress. What does that even mean? You read it and still nothing. Clock is ticking, stress is rising, and your score is dropping. But here's the fix. A simple trick that makes science passages 10x easier to understand. And here's the truth. Most of the science terms don't matter. The SAT doesn't really care if you know what oxidate phosphorylation is, so don't waste your time decoding those complex terms. Instead, focus on what actually makes sense. The passage says transcription factors influence cellular response. Ignore transcription factors. Just focus on influence response. So make sure that you skip the jargon and read the meaning instead. When you stop getting stuck on jargon, everything changes. You read faster, you understand better and more, you answer questions with confidence. Alright, skipping jargon, it's powerful. Breaking down words, it's really game-changing. But here's the thing. These first 4 tips, they're just the beginning. And I've got 3 more strategies that are even more powerful. Ones that can straight up transform how you handle the SAT. And instead of just telling about them, I've put them all together in a worksheet where I break down exactly how to use each one on real SAT questions. And the best part is, it's completely free. Link in the description. And the thing is, even if you know all these strategies, if you keep making the same mistakes that are killing your score, then it's useless. So make sure to watch this video right here